Hello.
Hello, mate. How are you?
How are you, mate?
I'm good, pal. I'm good.
Very good.
Thanks.
Very good.
Hey, thanks for making the time, Volk. I appreciate it, mate. I know you're a busy man.
No worries, mate. Yeah, like I said, I was a bloody. I didn't expect to have because usually after this I get it's only technique in the afternoon, but we had to squeeze in some sparring, so I was like, oh, it's a big day for me.
Got to get it. Well, it's a big day. It's a big fight coming up for you as well, mate.
Oh, that's it,
how's
mate,
everything? How are you feeling? Obviously, last time we saw you in an octagon was against Islam. You were very honest about the emotions that we all go through as fighters. So how's everything since then?
Oh, everything's good, mate. Everything's really good. Obviously, yeah, man. It's as you said, everyone does go through times. Like I don't, I'm not there very often, but there was a lot happening at the time, and that fight just come up, and I thought, you know what, it's meant to be. So that made the decision easier for me too. It's exciting and get me back into the swing of things, and took that, and then obviously didn't go my way, and then I was concussed, and then there's a camera in front of my face. So what do you do?
Hey, mate, I've said 10 times worse.
What are you saying?
I've said much worse in my day.
Yeah. So that's why I was obviously had mixed emotions of people seeing me like that, but I mean, then I was like, look, everyone gets like that. It's just not every day. Cameras in some of these people's face. So I'm all good with it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm all good. But it's
no. I think people really found it refreshing. You know what I mean? And I think generally when guys like ourselves, fighters, people that the general masses look up to as alpha males and tough guys, we're just as vulnerable. What goes on in here still affects us. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, for us to get to where we are, like there's something that obviously makes us tick, makes us want to achieve all these things, and then sometimes, that could be a bit as well, that competitiveness, challenging yourself, whatever it is. There's so much that, and then obviously the pressure of trying to be a good dad and everything as well. You want to make sure you're at home, but you should be, trained, you should be in camp, all this sort of stuff. And then am I getting old? You know what I mean? Like you start going, look, there's a time running out. I need to, I need to get things going. That's why I always say, keep me busy. It's not purely because of anything other than, hey, I want to capitalize on my time. I know I don't have 10 years left, but I'm in my prime. I want to capitalize on that. So get me going. You know what I mean? And I'm uneasy if I'm not capitalizing, making my family money. That's how it is. Because I'm happy to kill myself. I'm happy to kill myself in the gym and put my body through whatever I have to make sure I provide for my family. And when I'm not bashing myself, you know what I mean? It just doesn't seem right. So I was like, give me a fight so I can get in there and do what I do best.
Yeah, well, I totally resonate 100%. Last one on that, because there's a lot to talk about with the next fight coming up just around the corner as well. Now you've watched it back and now you've had a bit of time to think about it. Do you regret taking the fight?
I regret. No, look, I don't regret taking the fight. So, a lot of people are like, oh, silly, short notice. I stand by taking short notice fights because I always would. Because I always would, because of the guy I've always been, and I've always been in the gym. I've always been disciplined, and I've always been trained. I've always been in good nick. You wouldn't see a time of the year where I'm not in good nick. I'm always training. But if there was ever a time, it was that time. It was just I'm so upset and disappointed in myself of the timing. Like I said, we've obviously the new bubs, trying to help as much as I could. The injury, the surgery. I wasn't able to get in the gym. I was, heavy. I was drinking. I just wasn't being the professional, disciplined guy that I always am. And that opportunity come where usually 99% of the time I can take them fights, and you know what I mean. But I wasn't in the gym. I'm not making excuses. I knew that going in. I thought, I told myself, this is just how my brain works. Is how us fighters will work as well. I told myself, even though I knew I wasn't in the gym, I knew I was heavy. I was like, look, I know I'm not in good nick, but this is going to make me dangerous because I know I'm going to pull the trigger and I know I've got nothing to lose. So you know what I mean? And when I say nothing to lose, as in I can't sit there and beat this guy, you know what I mean, all 5 rounds. I need to go and finish. He's going to be I'm usually very calculated. I've got no time to be calculated in there. This is going to make me the most dangerous I've ever been. And I told myself that. The fact that I wasn't in the gym is making me more dangerous because I know I ain't beating him any other way than put one on his chin. And that's that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find it. But, so I told myself that, but it just did not go that way. I just couldn't pull the trigger, obviously not sparring. I was wasn't doing any sparring because of, obviously the surgery. I just started sparring and I wasn't in the gym much. And I just, I thought it wouldn't be a problem, but just trying to let the hands go. I was just talking to myself, come on, you got to go. Come on, you got to go. But, in the gym, that's why I'm such a big believer in preparation. You need to see when the shots are there. See, I'm known for throwing volume. I do that so I make people fight my fight. I don't let them set things up. I don't give them time to do that. And I did none of that. And I just, he was like obviously going to the kick, which was a great set. I'm not taking nothing away from him. I even knew that he would use that because I knew I was going to be at a closer range. I was aware that he would be smashing the body kick, or I'll be in range for it. But I thought I'd do things off it. I thought we had tricks. Well, I had things that I wanted to do off him. And, obviously I was aware that, he might mix up all levels, whether it is the leg, body and high. But I thought I'd just be able to put more in front of him to just suppress his volume. And I just did not do that. And that's why without giving my game away, but, that's why you see me doing so much in there. I'm like, I just don't stop, right? Because I make people fight my fight, and that's that.
Yeah, but don't beat yourself up, Volk. I mean, that was some legendary shit that you attempted to do. So, you know what I mean? Nothing but respect for myself, and I'm sure everyone in the fight community, So that's just the way it goes, man. You're fighting one of the best people to ever do it. All right, this weekend is UFC 297. Sean Strickland defends the bout against Dricus du Plessis, and I have an incredible offer. New customers right now sign up to DraftKings, who I have partnered with, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. If you're a new customer, sign up, download the app right now, bet just $5, and you will be rewarded with $200 in bonus bets instantly. That is correct. Bet just $5 and receive $200 in bonus bets in your account instantly. By the way, you can stay in on the action and use that $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at even bigger payouts. You can combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including the number of rounds and the method of victory. And if you're already signed up to DraftKings, then no problem, because all customers can get a no sweat same game parlay, or SGPX. Get a bonus bet back if your bet doesn't hit. Max reward limits do apply. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, then don't worry, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. DraftKings is offering huge contests this weekend with massive cash prizes up for grabs. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers use the promo code Bisping, bet just $5 on any wager and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. That is promo code Bisping. One more time, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Anyway, as you say, you want to keep busy. You want to stay making money for your family. And true to your word and true to your style, you're fucking right back in there. Ilia Topuria around the corner next month. My hometown, well, I say hometown, is where I live now. I'll be commentating the fight. I'm very excited for it. Talk to me about this matchup with Topuria.
Good matchup. Obviously there's a lot of hype around him, undefeated. I think this is just the perfect bounce back fight for me as well. There's going to be a lot of hype around him. A lot of people, he's dangerous. Which he is dangerous. He's a powerful dude. He's undefeated. You know what I mean? That's a story in itself. So, and then you've got the story of what happened in my last fight, and then people are like, oh, is he coming back too soon? All this is a part of the story. When I look at it, I'm like, mate, I've been in camp for that long. I don't know how people are. I'm hearing people like, oh, he's back too soon. I just can't see it. I'm like, man, I've been like busting my ass for that long. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I've had that much time. This has been a very long camp for me. Obviously, I followed all the protocols after it, from concussion and that. Like, I'm lucky enough to have a great team around me. And we followed that to a T. That's why the fight was pushed back a month, because we just thought January was rushing. Obviously, I could have done camp, but it was me rushing into camp, where we wanted them that extra month where, I could look after it, ease into it, then start camp. And that's what we did, mate. Like, and it's great. So, like, obviously, I'm not one bit about it being too soon. I'm not doing this just to get my head right. You know what I mean? I'm doing this because I want to be active. I want to be busy, and I know it's enough time. And obviously,
it's 4 months.
I know that now.
That's a lot of time.
Exactly. That's what
4 months. Man.
That's what. Look, I get it. I get a lot of people. A lot of people are going to sit there and say there's, the mental side of things and I get that. Look, some people probably are, but I'm just different. Like, I go into every fight. I'm a pretty confident guy, where I believe the only chance a lot of these guys that I fight is by beating me is by catching me. So it's not like, I'm going to, now he got finished, now he's going to second guess. I always fight smart. I always try and be calculated. I don't, I always make sure that, there's a possibility. If I lose, the good chance of that happening is from getting caught. I'm aware of that. And I've always been that through my whole career. So I don't see like nothing has changed for me, even in the gym, like sparring, and everything's just exact same. A lot of people, I don't know, people will talk about it, I'm like, oh, maybe with other people, but it's just not the case with me. So I feel like it's just another camp, and busting my ass, put myself through the ringer like I always do. And that's just that.
Yeah, people, I have seen online saying, oh, it's too quick, it's too soon. 4 months is a long time. You follow the correct protocol. I can only think back to my experiences when I got absolutely flatlined by Dan Henderson and I was out for a long, long time. Couldn't remember 3 months of my life. I was back in there 4 months later and I felt great. Okay, psychologically, I was a little more nervous, I think, going into that one. But then once I got cracked once, I was good. I was fine. And you know the score. You're just on autopilot. This guy's undefeated. Would you say that this is your toughest challenge? I mean, obviously, Max Holloway is regarded as the next best featherweight, but he's doing some, he's having some great performances, Topuria. What do you think of him as a matchup?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, look, I think he's a good matchup, and I think he's undefeated. Look, he hasn't fully tested himself with guys like myself or Max Holloway or like Garry Rodriguez or something. So I've questioned that. I've said that, like, you know what I mean? But that's not knocking as if he's not at that level. It's just we haven't seen it yet. So that's why, a lot of hype where I was like, look, obviously there's always going to be levels. We have to see where his level's at, you know what I mean? And we will see February 17th. I'm very confident. I think he's a dangerous guy. When we talk about how dangerous he is, I think he's powerful. I think he's probably one of the most powerful punchers I've faced, you could probably say. Obviously, you've got guys like Zombie, but, I think he's, his boxing's pretty tidy. He's always very, very well balanced and very well based when he's firing. And so he's always powerful when he throws. So that's something that if you get caught slipping, it can be a bad night. So he's that type of fighter. I mean, I fought guys like that, obviously. I fought very dangerous guys in like Ilia Rodriguez, who probably has a few other problems. But then you've got Topuria there, where he hasn't really shown his wrestling side of things lately. But I mean, he does have a wrestling background and a grappling background. He's the same build as me. So I'm guessing he'll be strong. He'll be good in the scrambles, and so there's going to be, there could be problems in other areas as well. So I think he's a great matchup. I think it's going to be a fun fight. But again, I'm always backing myself. I'm expecting to go out there and I'm preparing as I always do. I always prepare for the worst. I'm preparing for the best version of Ilia Topuria possible. That's how I just always prepare. And so there's never any surprises for me when I go into these fights because I'm always training for the best version of someone. And they're usually better than, I'm usually preparing for something better than they usually are. So sometimes I go into these fights and I make it look easy, but in preparation, it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? I didn't make it easy, but I make it look easy fight night. But that's just how I train, and that's why mentally I'm always ready for whatever challenge comes my way on the night. And I can make them adjustments because I've seen it all in camp. I make sure I always see it all.
Well, that's where the fight's won in training camp. Even though the fights are easy, you absolutely killed yourself in training camp, and that's why it looked easy. As you were chatting there, I just looked at his record because, as you mentioned, the powerful hands, and that's what I think of because he does have beautiful boxing. Only got 4 knockouts on his records. On his record, 8 submissions though. Fighting Islam Makhachev 2 times in a row. Ilia Rodriguez in between that. The takedown defense side of thing ain't going to be an issue. The submissions ain't going to be an issue. So the hands, the boxing, primarily, that's the main threat from your perspective.
Yeah. I think so. Look, I think I can handle, I've showed that I can handle the wrestling, grappling with the best people in the world, even in heavier divisions. So, you know what I mean? It's, even if he is better than I expect him on the ground, it's not something that I'm not used to. I'm going to have Craig Jones the next 4 or 5 weeks. You know what I mean? And who, that's who's going to be one of my main grappling training partners. So if you get kicked in that, like your ass kicked by someone like that for that long, how am I going to be surprised? You know what I mean? So it's usually that's just how I am. Like I put myself. A lot of people, like they say, let's be comfortable being uncomfortable, but I want to know how uncomfortable they really do put themselves. I mean, I put myself in losing positions all the time. I'm fine to get submitted by guys like Craig Jones. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hide away from that. I want to be able to be there. And, them submissions get less and less and less. When I used to wrestle him and grapple him, I'd get submitted bloody 10 times in one grappling round. You know what I mean? And then it just gets less and less. And now it's not easy to submit me at all. So, that's how you get yourself better. That's how you get yourself resilient. That's how you get yourself durable. That's how you go, that's how you get yourself prepared and calm and composed when shit hits the fan. And it can always hit the fan, but I deal with shit in the fan very well.
Yeah. It's like I always say to my son when I pick him up from jiu-jitsu, first thing I say to him, I said, did you get tapped tonight? And when he says, yes, I'm happy. And at first he never understood why. I'm like, son, because that means, A, you're getting pushed. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be the best guy in the room. But the fact that you're getting tapped, you're learning lessons subconsciously. You don't realize it, but you're getting tapped and you're learning not to do that shit again. Bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley, you've probably seen this. He's called out Ilia Topuria if Topuria wins this fight. One, what do you make of that? And secondly, why do you think he's not just called out the winner? Why do you not think he's calling you out?
Again, he's a clever dude. Like, obviously, I think I've even, because I don't mind Sean O'Malley, actually. I don't mind this.
I like Sean a lot. Just when I saw that, I'm like, well, why aren't you just calling out the winner? Not talking shit, Sean, but it's a fair question.
No, I didn't. I wasn't saying you were, but so I actually listen to his podcast here and there. Like, sometimes I'll things will come up, things, and I'll have a look at it, or someone send it to me. He's made it pretty clear. He's like, I don't know if I'd want to fight Volkanovski. You know what I mean? Like, so he made it clear. He's like, that's something that I don't think I'd want. Maybe the other guys. So, like, it's like he knows there's a bit of history with Topuria because they talk, and he's just being smart. If Topuria does get it done, is he going to bet on it and stuff? Well, he's not allowed, but would he? Probably not. He's probably backing me, but at the same time, he's clever. He's going to have a safe net. Look, this is a good option for me to go double champ. There's history there. I can move up and fight someone that he probably looks at as like, I'm pretty comfortable. I can do that fight. Where with me, probably doesn't feel as comfortable. I'm sure he backs himself. We all back ourselves, but he probably looks at that fight and he's like, that's he's pretty well rounded. It's going to be hard to, there's a lot of ways, where Topuria maybe sees he's going to try and stand with me. Maybe seeing things that I feel I'm seeing as well with Topuria, and that's why he's comfortable with the matchup. Well, I feel like I'm comfortable with every matchup just because I believe in myself, and I always see holes and I always feel like I can make the most of them. Even if I know even with Islam, like the first fight going in, I knew it was going to be really tough. I looked at all the things that could happen, and you know what I mean. Obviously, there's so much that could go wrong. But I'm all right. I know there's certain things that can go right, and that's all that matters to me. Same as with the second fight. Plenty could have went wrong. I didn't even, I wasn't even training. I was 83 kilos. I haven't been that heavy since I was playing football. You know what I mean? It was like I've never drank that much. It was the worst timing ever. But I still told myself I could put one on his chin, and I'm just going to.
Exactly.
I believed it. I truly believed it. I've truly believed it. I went out there thinking that I'm going to do this. I can do this, and obviously I was like, why don't you let your hands go? Even when I grabbed him, he shot and I pulled him up. I grabbed him. He done a couple of good knees, but I felt, I feel strong. I feel like maybe I could wrestle him. So I held him a bit, and then I was like, you ain't got the gas tank. You ain't going to go 5 rounds trying to out-wrestle Islam. Get off the fence and try and put one on his fins. You've got to let the hands go. This is the conversation I'm having in my head.
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy.
It's a nuts. And
People think,
like, come on.
I was going to say it's crazy because you have internal conversations with yourself as you fight, and it's almost like an out-of-body experience. You know what I mean? Many times I've been in there thinking, why aren't I doing this? Why aren't I doing that? I trained for 5 weeks to take this guy down, or 8 weeks, 2 months, whatever. Why aren't I bloody shooting? You know what I mean? But hey, that's the way it goes. Since your fight, 2 very honourable, professional men, right? There's never any controversy with you and Islam. Since then, there's been a bit of madness, a bit of drama going on in the world of mixed martial arts. We had that whole Ian Garry situation, Sean Strickland's fighting this weekend. Ian Garry's the co-main event on yours. Dricus has been talking stuff about Sean's childhood and all the type of, there's been some pretty nasty trash talk going on lately. What's your take on all of this, Volk?
For me, there's obviously there's lines you can cross. And, people are going to sit there, oh, it's a fight game and all this. I'm like, it's a sport. Like, I mean, how's, bringing people's family and, childhood problems and like, it's weird. See, with the Sean Strickland situation, I was sort of surprised at how angry, because I know he is pretty vocal about it. So he will, like, he'll actually sit there and say things like, I'm glad I got beat up with more kids. He will say stuff like that. But I think that maybe is just more of a defense mechanism. He just says that.
Yep.
But so I thought he'd be okay with it. But I didn't expect him to snap. So I remember seeing I was obviously next to him while this stuff was happening.
Oh shit,
and I could
you were?
Yeah. So I could, and I was next to the fight as well, right next to him for the fight. So I remember seeing him, and you could see like something just switched. And I was like, as soon as they bring up that, and I was like, oh, okay, like he didn't like that, and then it just changed, because it went from being pretty friendly with Dricus to I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh well, all right. So then I was like, okay, maybe he is. I thought he would be okay with it. So then I didn't think too much of it. I thought it'd be something that, because I know he sort of jokes about it himself and puts.
Yeah, sure. You thought he would take it with a pinch of salt.
Yes, but I mean, that doesn't make it okay. And then now that you see that, obviously, all right, like sometimes there is, I can see why there's confusion. Obviously, Dricus, all right, if that's really how you, all right, maybe I won't go there. But I thought, mate, you've said it that many times. I thought it did. All right, now I've said it. I've seen that. All right, I won't go there, because that is probably a little too touchy now that I know that situation. So I don't think it will go there again. But then you've got guys like Colby Covington and things like that saying some of the stuff, which I was obviously there for that as well. Which, you know what I mean? You just
he wasn't even fighting him.
I wanted to say something
like
myself.
Dricus and Strickland, they're fighting at least. You know what I mean? And I guess if you're fighting, you can settle inside the octagon. To be honest, that had nothing to do with Colby. I don't. Well, no, sorry, he was fighting Leon Edwards, what am I saying? But the fact that he brought that up, it's not like it had nothing to do with anything. That was just a nasty blow. I guess he was trying to get him off his game, trying to get Leon to go forward and get the takedown.
I mean, like, that's the. So, but I mean, when you're crossing the line, when you're saying stuff like this, and you could just sit there and be like, oh, I was just talking to fighter. I was like, man, it doesn't, I don't know. Like, oh, look, that's just not how I am. I think, if you are going to go down that route and you want to push someone's buttons, expect them buttons to be pushed and pay the consequences. Don't sit there and cry about someone hitting you outside of the cage because they're that revved up. You tried to do that. You knew you were crossing the line, but you did that to stir them up. How could you be so upset about it if, like, Colby obviously calling the cops and stuff like that after saying stuff? That just doesn't make sense to me. You say you cross the line and then you feel like, you know what I mean? That's just like, if you're going to go down that route, you better be happy to pay the consequences about it. So, like, I was pretty, I thought that was I was hoping Leon Edwards may put an absolute beating on him, put him out cold and landed a couple extra. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I was with that. But look, I definitely feel like there's going too far. I get there is trash talk, but I mean, at the end of the day, when is this going to be a sport? Like, I don't like how people try and act like this is, we're just absolute, I don't know, like not human beings, and we're just like, crazy like people. We're not. This is a sport. Like, that's how I look at it. So, martial arts has always been a little bit there. So I want to hold a little bit of that. I expect trash talk. I expect it to be a part of the game. Obviously, you were great at it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go. That's what I mean. When you cross some lines, I just think it's just too much.
Yeah. Well, it's from.
Did you ever feel like you crossed the line?
Mate, I don't feel like it crossed the line. I feel like when I see some stuff, I cringe inside. Because I was a bit brutish, a bit of a thuggish, you know what I mean, talking and effing and jeffing every 2 seconds and all the rest of it. I don't think I ever crossed the line because I never said anything too nasty. Basically, I just said, I'm going to smash your head in this and that. And then sometimes my choice of language was a little bit too colourful, maybe showing up to that George St. Pierre press conference a bit hungover and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, why did I do that? Why did I act like that? But to be honest, there was never an act from me. There was always just, I'm going to fight this guy. And rightly or wrongly, I was always of the mindset, right, you're my enemy now until this is done. Maybe that was a little emotionally immature, but that's just how it was. And I see some people, they're trying to do it for clicks. They're trying to generate pay-per-view, and it comes off a little bit cheesy. But going back to Strickland, he says if Dricus brings that up one more time, he's going to stab him this weekend. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. So, like, how's this? So if you I talked about, so I ended up putting up a video on my YouTube about their fight straight after the fight, and me and Craig Jones would talk because Craig Jones was right next to him, mate. There's a couple of funny
if only
stories.
you got
Craig Jones was right
if
there.
only you filmed that on your phone, that would have been perfect content,
mate.
Millions of views.
100%. But I mean, it was even. I mean, all of it was great because you even had had Sean, like obviously while like Tony Ferguson was fighting and Paddy, he was pulling guard on Paddy Pimblett. You got David Goggins in the corner, make all the stuff that was happening through that. Like we were just like, man, this is crazy, it's hilarious. So like he's even like going, oh, jiu-jitsu doesn't work. Talking to Craig Jones, putting him on live, going, jiu-jitsu doesn't work, and I'm like laughing because what he was saying is like obviously, and I actually agreed with him. There's a time and place for jiu-jitsu, like pulling guard and staying on your back and getting your head punched in for 3 rounds. It's just, you know what I mean? There's got to be a time where you're like, I've got to get up, plain and simple. Pulling guard's not the option here. You know what I mean? So I get where he was going with it. So I'm like cracking up like while things like that's happening. But then they end up fighting. So we knew this was going to happen. So I had a smile on my face like, oh, here we go. Like it's going to happen. And he's like, because I heard him saying stuff. I'm like, this is it. And he's like, oh, can you please move? And goes, and they start going. And then Dricus ends up having him. And then me and Craig were right there. And Craig says to me, I swear he was trying to bite Dricus because I seen him biting.
Sorry.
And I'm like, oh, you know what? I think maybe I might have seen that. So I put that on my video. We both put on our videos. And then Sean's actually come out and confirmed that he was biting him. I was like, we knew it. Like, we got that. Like, if only, like you said, we would have had the perfect view with our camera. If only we got that.
You know what I really like, though, because Dricus came out this week and said, you know, he doesn't blame him. He said, to be honest, he's another man. I was calling him on. I was talking a bit of shit. He said, I would have done exactly the same thing. So I really respect that about Dricus. What do you think in that fight, mate? Who do you think's the middleweight champion when it's all said and done?
I mean, I think it's a close fight. It's going to be a tough fight. They both bring different things. They both got skills. They're both sort of different. And, you know, they both got certain styles that are tricky, that can be awkward to fight. Like, obviously, Dricus being like the way he's got like a weird pressure, offbeat sort of pressure, where you flick things at different long ranges that you think nothing's there. Next minute, he's adding on the punches that they're very, very hard to sort of read. And next minute, he's on you, and he's just chasing you with, just certain things like that. He's strong. I think he's freakishly strong. But then you've got Strickland, who's very defensive. So this is how I look at, obviously, striking. He spars a lot. He's very defensive and he doesn't take unnecessary risks. That's why you would think just the way he is, like obviously hearing him talk and I'm a kill this
and
guy,
the way he spars as well.
Yeah. You'd think that he'll just go in for the kill.
Or the way like that he beats up members of the public.
So you'd think that's how he's going to fight, but he's very defensive. He's very safe where he won't overcommit till his opponent's out of position. Then he will really, so he's pretty safe in that sense, which I think he might find that hard with Dricus, because Dricus will, you play in this sort of Philly shell sort of weird defensive sort of style. I can see Dricus making that awkward by just coming forward with this pressure and just long weird punches and unorthodox sort of strikes. So that's interesting. But then obviously the strength factor but Sean Strickland, as I just mentioned with the Tony Ferguson, they're fighters. All he does is spar. So he just does what works for him. So he doesn't waste any time on his back, doesn't waste any time doing anything but getting up. So he was just going to sort of try and turtle and get up. Obviously, people are like, oh, watch the back, but he's going to make sure they're not getting the hooks in. He's going to, I feel like holding him down, I feel like he will get back to his feet. So that's something that I want to see, right? Dricus is going to be strong. Is he going to be strong enough to actually hold Strickland down, where I feel like Strickland's takedown defense is actually quite good. I think it's underrated. I think people do say it's okay, but I think it's even better than that. I think it's really good. I think we will see it put to the test. So I'm interested to see. I don't know. I'm trying to be very calculated and
I know
maybe this, maybe that. And I was like, it's hard.
You're being very political. You're sitting on the fence. You don't want to piss anyone off. You don't want to offend anyone. I like it, mate. I like it. Hey, well, I do the same thing.
That's me, bro.
Never an opinion.
I'm always sitting on the fence.
I know you've got to run, so I've only got a couple more things I want to ask you about, and I appreciate your time, Volk, because I know you're in training camp, you're a busy man, you got the family and all the rest of it. As a guy that is a long-time champion, you've defended the belt many times, right? What do you make of this whole John Jones, Stipe, Tom Aspinall. Tom's the interim champion, but Jones is fighting Stipe. I mean, that was already booked before Tom became the interim champion. But Tom's a mate of mine, and he's very frustrated with it all. But what do you make of that whole situation?
Man, it's such a weird situation. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, but, Craig Jones has done some great things. And I get that. But at the same time, when's a fighter, he's a fighter bigger than the sport itself, where we're just going to, I feel like I know that there's going to be times where we can push things and change things a bit, but making someone fight for the interim, like, why did we even bother doing that? Just to save a card, at least. And that's just weird. It's just, I get why they do it, to save cards, and, but you know what I mean? It's a really weird one. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, how can you give, like, what's the point of the interim if you're just going to make him wait so long? Or like, what is he going to defend his interim and let Craig defend that, and then afterwards let them fight? Like, it's just, look, it's weird. I think it's going to happen. I think that's just what's going to happen anyway. And
it is.
It is. Just keep changing.
That's what Dana said.
Like, yeah. So,
what would you do if you were Tom Aspinall, though? Because I've spoken to him a lot, and I think he's kind of changed his mind. But for a while there, he was just going to sit out. He said, the only person that interests me is the winner of Stipe and Jones. And I said, Tom, mate, I said, you're in your prime. I said, you're leaps and bounds above most of the other heavyweight division. Why not defend the belt? You're going to get pay-per-view points. You're going to stay busy. You're going to state your case even bigger and better, because there's talks that both of those guys might even retire. I said, defend the interim belt if the opportunity's there. And for a while there, I think he was planning on sitting on the sidelines and just waiting. Now I think he's changed his tune. But what would you do?
Yeah, look, everyone knows I don't like sitting on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Again, you can sit there.
You've had two defenses already.
Yeah, man. Like, I'll be making money, man. Making money. I mean, he's got kids too, doesn't he? So, like, obviously he's in a good position, but you can put yourself even in a better position, man. And like you said, you hit the nail on the head. He is that good. He is so good, man. I've got I believe he really is. Like, I mean, when we talk about biggest threat, I know everyone says that every time John Jones fights, but like, there's no bigger threat than Tom Aspinall for John Jones. Like, I mean, Tom Aspinall is a serious threat. He's dangerous. He's explosive. The way he can bridge for such a big fella, he's powerful. He's fast. And then he's got the wrestling. I mean, the way he mixes it all up together, he's got it all. So, I mean, I think just, mate, keep working on your skills. I mean, things got to go terribly wrong for me to see him losing, anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and, that's just how I look at it. I think he's that good. So if I was him, I'd get back in there, make some money, get better. You know what I mean? Like, just keep getting better and better and better, get more confident. The man, the more, believe it or not, he's probably confident and comfortable how he is now. That it even gets more and more. Like, you get more and more confident and comfortable the more times you get in there. And then you start backing yourself more, and then you start fighting even better. So that's how I am. And I believe me being active really did get me levels ahead and levels above. And I'm very thankful for it. Like, obviously, I was a good friends and training partners and that with Israel, and seen him do that. Like, I want to do that. Started doing that, and I believe it was the best thing I could have ever done.
Yeah. All right, last thing. You're a wizard in the kitchen. You've got the Volk cooking series, right? As I'm getting old, I'm trying to do a bit of cooking, right? My wife went off to the supermarket before, and every night it's always the same conversation. What are we doing for dinner tonight? Do you know what I mean? We get fucking bored. We go round and round in circles. It's always the same shit. She was like, we'll do fajitas. I'm like, I'm sick of fajitas. She was like, anyway, I want to start a bit of cooking. I'm no chef. I'm no Gordon Ramsay. As a man that is skilled in the kitchen, what is a dish that you would recommend for an amateur like me to start off with? I'm good on the barbecue. On the barbecue, I've got it covered. I'm the grill master, brother.
Okay. So here's one for you that I actually like. So what you could do, because you like on the grills as well. Have you ever done the lamb rack?
She hates lamb. She won't have it in the house. She hates this. I love lamb. Okay. I love lamb. She's Australian as well, so shame on her. You know what I mean? But yeah,
mate, I'm telling you, get one of my lamb recipes. I guarantee you.
Oh,
she'll change her mind. All right. Okay, if not, I mean, okay. So another good, like, if you are going to do whatever meat you're going to do, because steak's always good, whatever it is, anything's good. Maybe mix it up a little bit. But one good thing that I find is very, very good on the barbecue. It's very simple and easy to do. Like, I make shish kebabs. I use veggies for shish kebabs. So I've done a couple of those, and you just lightly season it with a bit of olive oil and like lemon pepper and stuff like that. and then you get like a toast, again with olive oil, a bit of oregano, and maybe a bit of garlic if you want, and put that on the barbecue as well. Everything on the barbecue.
Ooh.
And like you get nice char marks on it. And I'm telling you, the chars from the barbecue just makes the bread so much better, makes the vegetables so much better. And then obviously the steak on the barbecue or whatever you cook on the barbecue is going to be unreal. But that's one thing that I always do. And, you know, whether you've got like a nice little dip that you like to do, or go look at something that you would want to do that you could put maybe on your charred, toasted, like, you know, mate, I'm telling you, it's next level. It's so simple. So simple. Every time I do it, everyone's like, oh, how good's the bread? You know, everyone's bragging about a bread that I just flicked a bit of olive oil and oregano on. And then, you know, it was that simple. Maybe a little bit of salt for a bit of flavor. You know, it's so simple. But, I mean, it gets people like going nuts every single time.
Yeah. Favorite side with a steak? Because that's the thing. Whenever I'm barbecuing, it's the sides. It's always the same shit. I'm always trying to think of something more.
Yeah.
Recommend a side, a new side. Blow my mind, Volk.
Okay, a new side for the steak.
Yeah, just something to go with the steak or the chicken or the shrimp, whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, so more protein. You want more protein?
No, not a side. A side. You know, like a salad or beans or this or that. What is your go-to when you're barbecuing? Your go-to accompaniment?
Well, that's what I was saying.
The bread.
I make do you know what a shish kebab is?
Yeah, of course I do, mate. I do the shish kebabs already.
Yeah, shish kebab.
Some peppers, some onions, mushroom.
100%. That's it. Tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, a couple of things like that. Maybe some cheese on there if you want, like a certain type of cheese that might be like halloumi or whatever it is. And then I'm telling you, just the bread. Yeah, a bit of halloumi on there. You know, there you go. And then you get that with the bread. I'm telling you, trust me, it's so simple.
Doing the bread.
You got your carb, you got your protein, you got your vegetables. Yeah,
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on YouTube. I'm going to put it on there. Go on, say again.
Done. There's a bit of olive oil, a bit of like oregano. You know, if you've got fresh oregano, sweet. Maybe you can rub a bit of garlic on there if you want, or maybe a little bit of salt just for that little bit of flavor. And you eat it by itself, mate, if you want. But then you can have a bit of steak on it, a bit of the, you know, vegetables on there, you know, lightly seasoned. Oh, mate, it's the best.
I'm starving.
The char gets you every time.
Mate, we've taken up enough of your time. Last question, though, and you keep it super short. What is it, February 17th? Volkanovski, Topuria. You meet in the middle. What happens? How do you get the job done?
I mean, I'm really enough. I mean, everyone always says this. I truly do. I believe that I can get the finish on this guy because he's going to bring it. He's going to come forward. He's going to want to put hands on me. Obviously, that leaves openings, and just where I'm at as well. How I'm training. I'm just you know, I feel like I can see the finish on the feet. I can see the finish on the grappling. I'm feeling stronger than ever, yeah, really looking forward to putting one of these on as well. I really feel like I'm going to be landing one of these big bombs. So I'm looking forward to it. Again, he's got good hands, but I believe my hands are better. I think, you know, obviously I've got the kicking game. I've got my kickboxing, got everything. So I feel like I'm getting the finish. I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's going to be on the ground or on the feet. I feel like I catch him on the feet, to be quite honest.
Right. Well, we're looking forward to it as well, Volk. I've taken up far too much of your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great camp. I'll see you in Anaheim Hills, or Anaheim. I live in Anaheim Hills. I'll see you in Anaheim for UFC 298. Let's go. Volk, thanks for your time, brother.
No worries. I appreciate it. Thank you. Looking forward to it, mate. See you then.
I'll see you there, buddy. Take care.
Remember, char that bread. Make sourdough. When I say bread, sourdough. Get sourdough.
Ooh.
Sourdough. Slice it up.
I'm going to char the shit out of
it. That's it.
Volk, take care, man. Have a good one.
Get that grill nice and hot.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. See you, buddy.
Thank you.